Hey, all you beautiful people. My name is Brock Yurich. I'm a writer, actor, and overall gym douchebag. And we're going to talk about some nerdy, fun, awesome things today. And you're listening to The Points of Experience.
Oh boy, we're about to have one of my oldest, closest friends in this industry on the podcast. Brock.
Well, that's awkward. I thought.
Well, yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Okay, jeez. All right.
Listen, you're my blood, dude. I can't.
No, it's totally fine.
You know,
it's totally fine.
It's a different scenario. Listen, Brock Yurich, who we're having on the show, he worked on a lot of things that I've done. He is such a great person. A fantastic actor, writer, director, as we've just heard and seen. His short film Test was where I really got to learn that he is a filmmaker, and that's the way I look at him, and I look at people like myself, people who care about the storytelling art form. And he's the whole deal. He's the real deal, the real package. Like me, loved the way that the Duplass brothers approach filmmaking and storytelling, and you're being an actor and you write things for yourself and making great content. But me and Brock, we've known each other in New York, and we just keep crossing paths in different ways. And now he's out here in LA. My gosh, this conversation, Joe. What were your big takeaways that people can look forward to on this one, huh?
Just honestly, if I'm being honest, everything. Just such a humble, dude that just lots of gold advice and stuff going on, and it's a great one, honestly. They're all great. It's just I love the differing paradigms we get week after week.
He's the first kind of filmmaker we're having on where first of all, yeah, like you said, his personality is just magnetic, and I talk about it a lot. But he is a physical specimen, and you can just, if there's anything to be said about his dedication to his own fitness, is that's how he approaches kind of everything he does. He's committed to all of his crafts, and I love the beginning of the episode because we show some really nerdy stuff, and it's really fun. Yeah. So if you like video games and you like,
it's just not fair. It's you look like that, and you can create nerdy sculptures. Fuck, man. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah,
I want to be that.
It's like he's going to be a superhero. Honestly, I think Brock is going to become a superhero, and it's going to be
and not like a The Boys superhero, like a real righteous one,
Yeah, Marvel or DC, someone's gonna scoop him up, and he's gonna be an absolute The
Boys is awesome.
superhero.
Don't get me wrong, but
he could, listen, you could be Billy the Butcher.
I mean, it's just not really fair, honestly.
Yeah. But this is such a great episode. If you're interested in acting, directing, writing, producing, making your own stuff, staying in shape, finding opportunities, utilizing social media. Everything, being a nerd, there's so much in this episode. Really, it is the full package. We go the distance here. So give us a review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't done so already. This is a wonderful opportunity in time. Our intro, it has enough time for you to do that. So quickly go to your phone, go to the review area, leave us whatever stars you think suitable. Write some nice things. Write some cool things about Brock, about how amazing of a guest Brock is after this episode's done, because he is fantastic. And
also, if you have more than one finger, which, you know what? I'm not going to say it because there could be someone with no fingers listening.
Okay.
But if you have 1+ fingers, you can like the video.
Yes.
So, that being said, actually, if you don't have fingers, you can still punch. You can set up the mouse and punch the mouse at the like button. So there's no excuses.
Really, there's not.
Damn video really would help us, for real. Everyone who's listening, thank you. Just thank you for being a poxer.
Poxers are here in full force, and we appreciate your support. We got Brock Yurich on here, a fantastic person. You are in for many treats. Here we go, Brock Yurich, Points of Experience. I'm just noticing your shirt, and I love it.
I wore this for you.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
Dude, wait, hold on. Did you cut the sleeves off of that? Or is that
Of course I did.
I did. Ooh, 19. Dude, I actually love that shirt. Where did you get that shirt?
Target.
What? Target's got them sleeper shirts lately, dude.
They got good stuff.
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, dude, obviously I knew this, but we're going to jump a quick hair here now. I obviously knew you enjoyed games because we worked on a show together that I wrote that was about games and stuff. But I feel like I've truly seen your nerd come to life, whether it's through the statues that you're painting or just getting to like having, since we've done that, because that was so many years ago, you know, your love for Star Wars and all that stuff. Like, have you always been, or has it been evolving over the years?
Oh, man. Okay, so like I've said, so as a kid, here's the thing. People, when they see me doing all this stuff, they're like, oh, you're a gamer? And I'm like, no, I don't have a PS5. I don't get hyped about like the new, like fancy, awesome, crazy, like badass games. I've got a Super Nintendo and I'm playing Yoshi's Island right now. Like I'm stuck in the 90s. Like I have, I do enjoy video games. I don't enjoy every video game. I have a very eclectic kind of taste. Like I love my Super Nintendo. I love Tomb Raider, and I can't think of anything else off the top. Like, Uncharted was my gig. Like, I like that kind of game. But like, I'm a nostalgia guy.
Yeah.
But I've always been, as a kid, I loved Star Wars. I love Star Wars toys more than Star Wars. I love Star Wars toys. They make me, so when I walk into a store and I see Star Wars toys, I'm like, I don't need anything else.
But do you like the statue aspect of it? Or do you like did you like playing with it? Did you like the painting of it? What did you like about the toys, or just collecting them?
So I guess it's the artistry, the interpretation of the toy, but it's also I recently went to Galaxy's Edge and Star Wars. I went to Disney, and I swear to God, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
I haven't gone. And
oh man, it is, Paul. It is truly the coolest thing you'll ever see. I've traveled. I've seen cool stuff. I've been to the Eiffel Tower. I've been to the Louvre. I've been to Italy once. I went to Italy one time, and it was really cool. Nothing was as cool as Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, I'm so jealous. So,
oh my God, it was crazy.
What was your favorite part?
I mean, just walking up and seeing the Millennium Falcon right there.
Yeah, like that.
Life-size Millennium Falcon is just like the most insane feeling in the world. It feels like you got cast. I feel like I got cast in a Star Wars movie, and it's like, all right, we're going to set. That's what it felt like. And so I wrote on this post. I posted the pictures on Instagram, and I told this little story about how when I was a kid, my parents moved me from one school to the next in second grade, and moving as a kid is hard. Changing schools is really hard. But I couldn't really connect with the other boys, and I was like kind of a weirdo, but I realized that they like Star Wars toys and I like Star Wars toys. So that was the one thing that we had in common. So I really was like, we would sit and play with Star Wars toys on the bus, and we would like play, like come out, like go to a kid's house after school and like play with toys. And they had like the little play sets. Do you remember the play sets with the heads that like the stormtrooper head that would come down?
Yes,
and the C-3PO
I had
that would come down. Yeah,
Darth Vader,
all I wanted for like three birthdays in a row, I was like, just Star Wars toys. Just give me Star Wars toys. And so when I was 20, my dumb ass, my mom was like cleaning out the basement. She's like, what do you want me to do with all these Star Wars toys? And I'm like, toss them. Yeah, stupid Brock. So I'm now on a mission to sort of rebuild my collection, because now I'm not a broke college kid. I have like a job, and I'm like, I don't have kids, so I'm like, I'm gonna buy toys.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. But yeah, like then when COVID hit, I was like hanging at home and I got so bored. I was like, I've always wanted to make action figures and make figurines. And now I want to learn how to do it. And so I did. And actually, like, this was...
Yeah, bring some of these out, because some of them are freaking fantastic, man.
This used to be a Deadpool. And I painted his face. I sculpted new hair. And I added leather straps, and like me and my friend made his outfit, and I turned him into Rikimaru from Tenchu.
Yeah.
And then, thank you. And then, where's she at? Oh, here, Miss Croft. This used to be a Spider-Gwen, and then I made it a mission to like turn her into Lara Croft. So I ordered these hands off of eBay. Mm-hmm. They just have hands. You just buy hands. And I sculpted the hair. My parents came into my apartment and they were like, they saw like doll heads and shit like that. They're like,
this is the starting of making a murderer or whatever, you know?
It's part of the process. Don't judge me. So then my little brother got really heavy into 3D printing, and he can pop out anything that he wants. And there's just like all these little figurines, and I was like, and as a kid, my mom painted ceramics, and I love painting ceramics. This is just what it is. It's just painting ceramics, but they don't shatter when you drop them on the ground. Yeah. So like my little brother 3D printed me Mario.
That's so good, dude. I want that. Oh my God.
Right? Like I painted him, homeboy. Like it's like
so good.
It's the most zen thing. Here we go. So then like my little brother painted me this, or he printed me this, and then I painted him. So we got Mr. Link.
God, and
you were the one who showed me how to play emulators online during COVID.
Yes,
it was Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. When I was 10 years old, those games were so hard I could not figure them out, and they've been haunting me for 20 years. So you showed me how to play them, and I was like, I played them all through 2020, and it was the funnest thing ever. So this is my little my homage to Link saving my life during COVID.
So all amazing, and you are so talented at that, and that's why I have this cloud, and I haven't gotten around to it, and you're really inspiring me, because I want to paint this, and I haven't gotten around to doing it yet from Final Fantasy. This was 3D printed, and I want to get into that stuff, but I was telling you, I'm not a very meticulous person, and I'm very jealous of how meticulous and precise you are, and it all looks so clean, and that's like, I think, because anybody can paint a figurine, anybody can print a 3D thing, and anyone can like do that theoretically, but it's like any kind of art form. Your attention to detail and how meticulous it is why I'm so jealous, and how even with not just the painting, but it's also like the outfits and the garb. It's like you're not just, I like this and I'm making it. It's like I'm making this a piece of art, something that I can enjoy and I can display. And I'm like, every second. The other day when you were over here, I went on Amazon. I was like, I'm going to buy a paint kit. I wanted to buy an acrylic thing. Because I want to, I'm just jealous.
Dude, no, but like you can do it. And that, like, let me see that figurine really quick. Can I see him?
Absolutely.
So it's all hard edged, right?
Yes.
Like it's all
a
like
polygon
flat edges.
based.
Polygon, yeah, exactly. Oh my God, dude, that'd be so, because the lines are so hard, that would be a really good starter paint, because it's literally like you just paint the little squares.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated as like something a little bit more like soft, like fucking like Link. This was like pretty intense.
That's what I'm saying though. That looks amazing.
But that polygon is like, you can do it. It's just go to Michael's, pick out the paints you want, and then get a little paintbrush kit, and then what you do is you buy this stuff, semi-gloss clear.
Okay.
I'll send all this to you in a text.
Please.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored. But,
you're gonna be, dude. You keep posting those, you're gonna be.
Yeah, Rust-Oleum, give me that check. Send that Venmo. Send that Cash App. Send that PayPal.
Yeah, get them Instagram Reel bit or whatever they pay over there on Instagram, right?
But the true magic, true magic is antiquing And when you know, like when it comes to like Link's hair, this is the best part. So when I paint the whole thing one color, and then I spray it with the semi-gloss clear primer, and that sort of puts a protective layer over it, and it makes it shiny and hard. So like if I were to scratch it, you can't scratch the paint off. There's a protective layer. And then you let it dry, and then you paint over the entire yellow with like this really thin, specific antiquing brown paint. And you cover every crack, and then you wipe away with a washcloth, and the brown stays in the cracks. And that's where you get that little shading from, and that's why it looks like it has some dimension and some life to it. So it's not just one solid color. Yeah.
And even the distressing you did on the Star Wars bit on that R2D2 that you showed me, like that's the stuff that I was so jealous about, because it looks that, you know, you're creating a scene, and it's so, I mean, I know I'm making you probably pull something out right now, but
I'm happy to.
Oh yeah, I loved.
So yeah.
It's so amazing.
This is R2. Yeah. So I took a toothbrush and I dipped it in brown paint. If you can see, like I painted it perfect. Like I painted like a good R2D2, like a clean R2D2, and then you can see in the cracks here I did the antiquing. Like you can see where the brown is. So I painted them all brown, and then I wiped away, and the brown stays in the cracks where the cloth doesn't touch.
Yeah.
But then to get the dirt, I took a toothbrush with the brown paint, and I speckled, and I go like that, like boom, 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 like that. And it flicks little spots on him, and it makes him look like he's been dirty in the swamps.
Yeah.
And this is like, you can definitely see the antiquing with Yoda.
Yeah.
Like this is, so like all those little creases, those came from just antiquing. And I painted them all green.
So good.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah, and then this is my fucking swan song. This fucker.
Let's see.
Swear on this thing?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
If people are learning swear words here for the first time, then I'm a little. You shouldn't be listening to a podcast.
To be a role model. So
I know what this is right here. Yeah.
Yeah, my little brother 3D printed this. Like this thing came out of his bedroom. How crazy is that?
It just, like, 3D printers are one of the coolest things to ever, like, be a commercial purchase that somebody randomly can just be like, hey, my faucet's broken. I'm going to print out the little cube that I need to fix it. Like, what? And you can make figurines, you can make swords, you can make helmets. I saw a guy who makes, like, I don't know if you've seen this guy, like, on Instagram and TikTok. He makes, like, full Iron Man outfits and stuff.
I'm just making a stormtrooper outfit right now.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, my little brother 3D printed me this.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
This was basically free.
Wow.
You know, like, except for the cost of the materials, like, and then I just spray painted it silver. Yeah. And it's the coolest thing.
And that would cost, $80, $100 otherwise.
Totally. Yeah.
That's so cool. So, I mean, dude, and to get back to my first point here, obviously, like, you may not consider yourself a gamer or a nerd, but I think that's what I classify somebody who enjoys the nerdy parts of so like that's
nerd.
Yeah, and I've
I've
always it's been so funny to see, like, and you playing, doing the Pokemon stuff and Zelda. I remember I was like, oh my god, this is so funny. And
I was reporting back to you. I was like, bro, I just beat the Final Four.
I know. But cool, it's I love that about you, and you are somebody who I've admired, and we're gonna kind of circle back to the beginning here. You are one of the funniest, most talented actors I've ever met. Your commitment and your hard work on what you do as a bodybuilder and a trainer is one of the most marveling things that I could ever sit back and watch and be in envy of. Your ability as a writer and as a filmmaker, it is truly something that because we're kind of cut from the same cloth in that craft, where where I think a lot of people, especially when you're known to the world as an actor, it kind of, at least I felt this way. I always felt kind of devalued. People don't really respect you as much as like the writers or directors, the filmmakers, the producers, or, you know, whatever this stuff is. But you are somebody where you are the real fucking deal. You're an artist through and through. It's like 4-dimensional, and then your layers just continue to impress me the more I see your capability as an artist. And that's why I've always been so proud to know you. You're somebody who I'm always just like, anytime I see you doing something different, it excites me. And obviously working on these new scripts and these new films, and I can't wait to see them come to fruition. You are seriously, and again, to the first point, you're one of the funniest people I've ever met. And as a writer and somebody who, when we were working on our series that we'll get into maybe a little bit, but like when we were writing this character that we wrote for you, it became such a writer's gift. When you're no longer writing a character you set out to like this idea, you're writing the character based on, like, the person is writing the character for you. You know, whatever you're bringing, it's like, oh, that's totally something Brock would do. Like, that's we're layering that in. Like, I remember when we were watching you do those dub smashes on Instagram and stuff, and I was like, dude, I love that. I love this idea. And I was like, let's incorporate that type of thing into our character. And long-winded way of just saying you're a tremendous artist and extremely talented, and it's a privilege to know you.
I was having a normal, okay day, and now I'm having a great day.
Oh my God, I love it.
Like, I got chills, Paul. Come on, okay, all right. I think the same of you, Paul. We've been friends for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think you and I both, we like bounce ideas off each other. We inspire each other. We met doing,
do you remember this?
ID Discovery. I was an extra, and you were there, and we were in some big house, and it was like a ghost story or something.
School
it was a haunted
Spirits.
house.
Do you remember that? Do you remember? Dude, that was that whole experience. I remember I was so excited. It was one of the first things I was doing. I just moved to New York, and they presented it. You know, bless the casting director's heart at the time. I mean, but they made it seem like I was like going to be like a lead character on this thing, and I showed up, and you're just basically not even a glorified extra. You're just an extra. You know, you're just a person in the background. Were you even there? Were you there both days or just one day? Were you there like both days?
I was there. There was a party scene.
Yes.
I remember the party scene, and then I think I was there maybe like one day, because I remember there was like a scene where you guys were all sleeping in a room together.
I don't even remember what it was. Something. Oh yeah. Okay, guys. So you weren't there for that, and I remember you showed up like the next day. I remember there was also a guy who just didn't show up for the next day. He was there the first day and then didn't come back. And I was like, it was such a weird intro into kind of the filmmaking and like I just moved from New York or New Jersey to New York, and I was like, this is what it is. It was so weird. And I met our friend Jake Choi there, with both of you on that set, but I'll always remember on that bus ride or the van ride back to the city, it was you and then some girl who I don't remember, obviously, but you were just like, Paul, come hang out. Let's go hang out after this. And I was like, wait, I can do that? I was like,
was it my friend Erica? Because I remember Erica Deal. I asked my friend Erica Deal to be there. She was like a really tall, she was redhead. I don't know if it was, I remember I invited her to be an extra with me because they needed extras. So it might have been Erica. It might have been Erica. Because if there was anyone I was going to go hang out with after that show, after that set, I do remember I brought Erica Deal. We went to college together, and she moved to New York. And I was like, hey, come be an extra with me on this thing. Because we were sitting together at the party scene. We were sitting on the front porch, and there was a shot of us. And there was like a silhouette of me and her. And I was like, that's us. And so it might have been her that I was like, that we all kind of hung out.
But that was
but you were so fun. You were like you were the only cool one on that set. I was like, this kid's cool. The rest of y'all can scoot.
Well, that makes me feel good to think that I was cool, because I never thought of myself as cool. But I just remember you and your personality being so like magnetic, and you were like, it was. Like from the second I met you there, like it stuck into my head because we had not really like reconnected. Maybe we became friends on social media, but that was like 2012, 2011, maybe something like that. Like I had just moved to New York, and then like we reconnected later on. But I remember you'd stuck in my head like just being with you in that short period of time, like that energy to me was like, I was like, I could write for that. Like, I remember like when we had that moment, like you are a fucking a person, like you are a unique person, and you stuck with me since then. And I was so glad that we got to become friends.
Yeah.
All right, we jumped.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt about you. I was like, if there's anybody in this group, like in this, group of actors, I was like, this kid's got something going. Like, this dude's got the thing. He's gonna do something big, and I want to be friends with him.
Wow!
So,
man. That's I always say to people whenever like they're presented with an opportunity, and I've had many situations where like you don't know if it's going to be a good time, or it's like, I don't really know if I want to do this, or you never know who you might meet during this one thing. You don't know what that yes to, even though it might seem stupid or frivolous or like a waste of your time, it might be shitty, and it might be like a really fucking miserable time, but you might meet somebody and become great friends and collaborate with them, or they might, become your and officiate your wedding. Who knows? These things happen all the time, like in different capacities, and that's why I always try to say yes to things, even if they seem, less now than when I was like in my early 20s, because it's harder to say yes to every little thing, but definitely starting out, I was trying to say yes as much as possible, and I'm glad I did. I got to meet people like you, and David Risdall and Jake and everybody else, So it was,
Dave.
I know. I haven't. I have spoken with David, but I gotta have him on here. So
I text him every once in a while and say hi, and I don't know. Like I love that kid. He was so funny.
I know,
but he's doing big things. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's had a new movie come out. I want to see it. He actually got like some long hair or something.
Was it a scary one? It was like a group of people in like a horror kind of setting.
Yes, yeah, I want to watch it. It looks really good. But enough about them. I want to start back with you now. Now that we've had a good way of getting to where we are and catching everybody up here on our relationship, I want to know about you. Obviously, I know you grew up in Ohio, but can you give me a little bit or like a quick rundown of how you came to kind of fall in love with the arts or even pursue acting and get down this artistic journey? Like where was that first moment of inspiration where like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go to college for that or whatever it was. How did this all start?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try to keep that condensed because as like kids like you and me, you were probably just like me. I would watch movies and I wanted to be on that movie set and I wanted to be in that movie. And I, instead of watching Spider-Man, I was like, I don't want to be Spider-Man. I want to be the actor that plays Spider-Man. And I wanted to be the kid in the movie. And I wanted to like be on sets. And me and my best friend, Derek, when we were kids, we were like, we both lived in the country. Like he lived on one side of town. I lived on the other. So we would spend the night at each other's houses. And like, we didn't live in town where we could like walk outside and go play with the neighborhood kids. We were really isolated. So we had to make our own fun. And so we either played, like half the time we played video games and the other half the time we were outside pretending to be, Dragon Ball Z characters jumping off of hay bales, like, we had trampolines. We would like flip off the tool shed onto the trampolines and like try to do backflips and outflip each other and try to just like pretend to be the characters we were playing. And so we would get the video recorder up and we would pretend to do fake news recording. Like we would do the news. We would pretend to be anchors and improv and make up news stories and just like, it was so dumb. And we'd watch ourselves back on and make ourselves laugh. And those are like really good memories that I have, really funny memories. But then I remember seeing musicals as a kid. My grandma would take me to the Little Theater. It was called the Little Theater, and they would do it was the musicals in town. It was the Little Theater, and we would go see plays. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be up on that stage doing that. And then I had the chance. It was 8th grade. There was always the 8th grade musical, and we were doing that year. They were doing Once on This Island. Mm-hmm. Which is an all-black show, but they decided to cast it with little white 8th graders. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized Once on This Island is a black show. It's a all black cast. And
You're like, wait, no, it's a bunch of white people on this island. What are you talking about? Yeah, different times.
Different times. But also, like, it was like there was nothing. There really wasn't. It wasn't like we were. It's Once on This Island Junior. So they took the racial stuff out of it and just made it about. It was like literally the story of the Little Mermaid. And it's like, but it's with humans. So it's like this girl, and she knows there's the rich prince, and she's like dreaming about being with the rich guy, and the gods make it happen, and then she has to like figure out how to be with the rich guy. It was cute, but that was when I started singing, and they were like, "You're good at this singing stuff, Brock." And I was like, "Okay, cool, let's keep going with it." And so all through high school, I did plays. I became the president of the drama club in high school, and then also my dad is a bodybuilder, so I was going to the gym with him, and I was weightlifting at the same time. So then I got a job at Gold's Gym in high school. So I was working at the gym trying to get people to come to my musicals. and these dudes were like, "Oh, yeah, I'll come see your show. Yeah, that's cool, bro. Yeah." Like,
so you dress up and sing? Yeah. Dude, wait, so they were actually like, that was a different perceived kind of reaction from people that would, typically, because I remember, like, that's amazing that they were so into it and supportive and like down to see musicals, because it's but I find that more often than not when people see, I think the notion that people are so against like theater and musicals is because they haven't experienced it yet. And I would meet people that I remember there was a guy I used to work with when I was a maintenance man at this building. I was basically taking out the garbage, cleaning the floors for like Section 8 housing in on the Jersey Shore or whatever, and I met this guy, huge buff dude. He was actually like one of the maintenance guys around there, and he used to tell me about all his favorite musicals. He'd go into the city every weekend and go see like Phantom or Les Mis, and I'm like, this was before I was even like really invested in theater and musicals. I didn't get into that until I was in college. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, you like Les Mis in my head? But it was because I had never had my own experience with it yet. And he was kind of like breaking that down for me. He's like, no, the story and the love and the real human thing. I think when people finally experience theater and musicals, it takes that whole perception away of like, this is something that's stupid and people dancing around on stage. It really... I think it was done dirty, Yeah,
and it's like cool to shit on musicals, It's like, and that's like the funny thing to say, and it's like, yeah, okay, I know you're cool for shitting on musicals, you're a tough guy, but like you actually go sit and if there was a camera on your face while you were watching a musical, you'd be like, this.
Yeah.
When there are people doing insane things 30 feet from you, you can't help but be moved by it. Mm-hmm. And, my partner, he didn't have a lot of experience with musicals. And I would explain the story. I was like, did you ever see this show, this musical? He's like, no. And I says, oh yeah. Did you ever see Spring Awakening? And he says, no. What is that? It's like, it's a musical. And I said, yeah, it's about this group of kids that have never learned about sex. And like the one kid sort of like, he kills himself and then she dies from an abortion. He's like, I thought musicals are supposed to be happy. And I'm like, musicals are fucked up. Musicals are horrible. If you really break down the plot of a musical, like Rent, tell someone about Rent.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. And then it's like, and then I go back and I'm like, oh my God, all these musicals are horrible.
Yeah.
Even Wicked. There's like, if you look at the opening of Wicked, I'm like, he gets the wizard gets the mother drunk and then like has sex with her.
Yeah.
And then the baby comes out, like the mother like cheated on the father, had a baby, and then like didn't tell him that the baby's not her. It's like there's all these really, really dark things about musicals.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not, and it's like they're dancing, and it's just like, I'm gonna die in 10 minutes. Like it's just their musicals get dark. Musicals get very dark.
Maybe the dancing helps us swallow the pill a little easier.
Yes. That's what I was saying to Marco. I'm like, yeah, the first act is nice. The second act is always just like, Into the Woods.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
One of my favorites. One of my favorite musicals. Yeah.
Oh my God, Act 2 is devastating.
I know. Yeah.
And it's like
literally destroying,
like,
eating people, stomping on people, whatever. Like,
Rapunzel gets smashed. The wife fucking gets smashed. Like everyone just like gets killed.
The baker's wife whole story is so tragic.
Yes, she like cheats on her husband and then gets killed. I'm like,
yeah.
What the fuck is happening here?
But she's just like, I want to be happy and I want to experience what I believe is what making me happy. And then they just say, yeah, well, guess what? For cheating on your husband, you're gonna get killed. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's dark. It's dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, back you were saying, you were doing the musicals. The dudes from the gym were coming to watch you at the musicals, and then you decided you wanted to go to college for this. You're like, this is what I want to do with my career. I think I can. Is that where that you wanted to go to music? You wanted to do musical theater, or what did you want to do from there? Because you didn't go to New York first, right? You went to college somewhere else.
Yeah. It was, when you're in Florida, college is very, very cheap when you're a resident of Florida and you go to college in Florida. So my parents were like, you can go anywhere in Florida. We don't care. But you're not going out of state. Like, we're not paying for that. And I said, okay. So I went to college in Orlando and I auditioned for the theater program. And I spent 4 years working towards getting my BFA in musical theater. And the thing is, like, after college, I went to New York. And I knew that I was like, it's either New York or LA. Yeah. And I knew that I wanted to go up to New York to go get my ass kicked. And I thought, if I can do it in New York, LA is going to be easier.
If you can make it here, you can make it anyway.
Exactly. It really is. And it's like New York is hard. And LA is hard too, but New York is like the life is hard. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that going to New York was good, but I went to New York thinking I was going to audition for theater. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, these guys are like not playing around. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go do TV and film. And so I started working and focusing more on taking film classes that I never got in college because it was all theater. Yeah. And it was all live performances and singing and dancing and all this stuff. And we never got acting on camera. There was one acting on camera class in theater, but I never took it. I didn't get to take it. So in New York, I got to start taking camera classes and auditioning for TV and film. When I got my representation, they started sending me in for TV shows and movie parts. And I was like, oh, this is so much more fun than going in for a theater audition. Because a theater audition is kind of like an all-day thing. Yeah. And it's like you're all like, there's like 100 people in a room and you're like stretching and like, you've done this, I've done that. And then TV is like in, out, in, out.
Yeah, and theater is such a. Oh my gosh!
Oh, it's hard. It is hard. Yeah.
I've never. Those are always the most stressful auditions. Like anytime you're in that room with other people, and it's such. I don't know. The energy is so different for a theater audition, especially a musical, because everyone's like learning their music at the same time, and then like again stretching. It's just such a different beast. But yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. But TV and film, I was like, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is what I need to focus on. This is what's going to make me happy. And I one day I just told my manager, I just said, please don't send me in for theater anymore. I'm not going to do it. Like I can't, even if I do book something, I can't take 9 months to go do a touring show of a thing. Like I need to be in New York working towards getting cast in TV and film. And I can't do that if I'm doing 9 months of a touring musical. So I just wanted to do TV and film. And then I started working on writing my own stuff. And then I think that's when you and I sort of meshed and we sort of became like, we sort of reconnected. It's like, oh, you write stuff, I write stuff. And then I started working on a short film and I wanted
T-County,
to.
Right?
T-County, yes. Right there.
Yes. Because I remember I saw that at a bar. You had a screening at in the basement of a bar, and that's kind of like Yeah.
Yep, and you were there for that. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
To me. Yeah, listen, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I think that's where you and I became, like, we really started to connect on, like, we're both writing and producing our own things. Mm-hmm. And that's how you have to do it if you want to do anything. And so, and then you were the one that helped me figure out my first feature. I will always give you credit for that.
Oh my gosh! Well, we'll get to that, and I want to take one more step back again here too, because we'll get into your feature and that whole process as a writer. When you moved to New York and how did you get your first agent and manager? How did that all come about? Did you take a class, or was it in part of your TV and film thing? How did you get hooked up with your first representation?
So what had happened was I was working as a bartender, and it was like a little club. And there was a gentleman who would come, and he would he was, I was this bartender, and he was very nice, and he was just like. He asked me he was like, so what do you do? And I said, I'm an actor. And he says, oh, you're an actor? And I go, no, I'm a real actor. And
I love you.
You're trying to be an actor. I'm like, bitch, fuck you. And I said, I went to college for music. I have a BFA in musical theater. And he goes, oh. And I go, yeah. So I was like, don't try it, bitch. And so he and I really we were talking about the play, the big plays like Arthur Miller and Tennessee Williams, and he was like, oh, you know your shit. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what do you want? You want another vodka soda, bitch? I'm like, yeah. So the Crucible, yeah. And so he really was like, oh, you got something here, and he helped me. He was like, I'm a professor at Stella Adler Studios, and I was like, oh. Okay. And he says, I would think you'd be great for the summer conservatory. And so he helped me get a scholarship for the summer conservatory. So there was a scholarship, and it was like this couple, a husband and wife, and they set up a scholarship to send one kid per year to the summer conservatory for free. And so he suggested to them, he was like, I applied for the scholarship, and then he said, this is my pick. I think you should pick this kid. And they did. And so I got to go for free for the summer. And it was basically one big semester of college, but it was all acting. It was like stage work, breath work, everything I didn't get in musical theater, I got here. We did Shakespeare, movement. It was so good. And it was because it was my first year of New York, and I was so lost. I was like a cork in the middle of the ocean. I was just floating around. And then this grounded me. This was now I know what I need to be doing. Yeah. And he then one night brought a woman to my bar. And he was sitting at the bar, and he says, this is Serena. She's a manager. Don't tell her I told you that, but I want her to meet you. And I was like, gotcha. And so we talked all night, and we hung out, and she was like, she's like, you're super cute, and I think you're great. And I'm like, I think you're great too. And so she just, said the next day she contacted me and said, I want to try you out. Let's see how you do. I want to send you some auditions, and I have some classes I want you to take. She helped me get into Bob Krakauer.
One of the greatest on-camera film teachers in New York City. Highly recommend him, yeah.
Yep. And that changed my entire perception on acting on film. That was insane. Mm-hmm. And so after that 6-month period, that was June. That was the summer of 2012. And in December of 2012, she signed me officially. And she's been my manager ever since. So that's how my representation came about.
Wow, I'm so glad that you talked about that, because, again, your type of personality, again, that could have been anybody else sitting behind the bar, and they would have just been like, yeah, I'm an actor, and then they would have made that joke, and they would have been like, oh, okay, what do you want? But you just having the confidence and knowing yourself, or presumably knowing yourself, maybe being kind of a little bit overtly ambitious and cocky, who knows, maybe that's what it was, but again, having that talent meet opportunity kind of scenario right there, where just putting yourself out there and being confident in who you are and having I love those type of stories where somebody else could have been in that same situation and it could have gone a completely different way. But who you are, to take the reins like that and be like, I don't know what fucking horse you're sitting on, but get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
And that led you down this kind of path. Oh my gosh, it's so important for people to hear. Not that you need to be so brazen in every opportunity, but I think it just, you having that confidence to be like, you're not cooler than me. I don't know why you're throwing that kind of attitude at me. I am the real deal.
But he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't being mean about it. I'm joking, but he was he was teasing me. I was teasing him back. But yes.
But having the confidence.
He wasn't being like a total asshole. He was just teasing me. He's like, oh, you're an actor, and I was like, yeah, no, bitch, fuck you. But it was fun. It was because I already knew him. But there are people like that. There are people that are mean about it. But he was cool. That's why I knew I could joke back with them.
you were still taking the moment as an actor or as someone who is a creative and improving, and you were saying yes and in a very interesting way, and keeping that moment alive, making funny of it, and that to me says more about a person than it is how well they can read Arthur, perform Arthur Miller, and the fact that you were so learned and you had and you could back up that confidence with, I've read all this shit. You want to talk about being a real freaking actor? I've read Arthur Miller. I've read The Crucible. I know Chekhov. You want to talk about The Pair? You want to talk about Three Sisters? Like to be able to hold a conversation with people is honestly, I think, more important than how talented you are, because there's so many talented people. It's how well can you take opportunities and become friendly with people who are making stuff, because people want to work with people they like. And if you can hold a conversation with these people that are doing the shit, that's worth more to me than, talent is undeniable to a degree, but it's like how you got to find the people to work with and help you make shit. Unless, like you said, you're going to do it on your own. And before we get into the writing stuff, I know your dad's a bodybuilder, and that's how, that became a big part of your life. But for you, when did you get super serious about it for yourself? And do you think that part of your enjoyment, or maybe what became your obsession with bodybuilding, do you think that like Dragon Ball Z and stuff had an effect on that? Like for me, I always wanted to be like the badass because of Dragon Ball Z and work out, because I wanted to train like freaking Goku and Vegeta. Was that for you?
We had a Bowflex in the gym when I was 13, 14 years old, and I was like, I want to look like Goku. I want to look like Goku. I want pecs like Goku. I swear to God. That's what I was like. I want to be jacked like these dudes. And that's why in the beginning, the opening season the opening scene of Cutting Season, he's got a little Dragon Ball Z figure. I like, it has to, like, for me personally, in the scene, like in this scene description, it says on his shelf sit little Dragon Ball Z figurines, and little like wrestling figurines, like a half-ass shrine to bodybuilding. I'm like, this is. Like when you see those little figurines, you'll know exactly what this kid's dealing with. Like, he's had body image issues for a very long time. Like Dragon Ball Z fucked us all up in the head.
It did, but it also inspired in a good way. But I understand that dynamic and dilemma. It's great for writing. It's great for a flawed character who has what they want to achieve. Because I think everybody watching that show, they wanted to like save the world and be the strongest Saiyan there ever was. But it's to a certain degree.
There are grown men at my gym with Goku shirts. Yeah, and I'm like, I feel you. I got that. That tracks. Yep. I see you.
Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the One Punch Man workout at all?
No.
Joe, can you pull up this workout wherever it is, because I'm going to say it wrong. It's like there's an anime called One Punch Man, and if you need to watch this anime. I promise you,
it's really good.
Thank you. Yeah. The premise of this anime, and I know like even now, like it still holds up. It came out many years ago, but he is the strongest superhero in the world, and there's no like villain that he's just so strong he's over it. Like he literally can beat anybody with one punch, and they say Saitama, the character. Could you pull this up real quick, because I want to show it to him and see if this is because I always wondered about this, because the workout. They say that the workout that he did, Saitama, to get in the shape that he was, is something so like ridiculously basic. It's just like push-ups, pull-ups, and like sit-ups or something. And people do this workout to like get into good shape. And I'm curious.
A cartoon does?
Yes, there's people who do the One Punch Man workout, and they like. I want to get somebody who is legit to criticize this right now, and it's even better that you don't know about it, because it's hysterical. I honestly recommend you watching the anime. It is brilliant. It is one of the best, if not the best workout or animes I've seen. So let's see here. What does it say? Yeah. Oh no, we lost share screen. Where'd it go? Okay, hang on here. We're strapped in. I loved it. I mean, I remember I was doing it for a while, and I was like, at the very least, it would be like the workout that I would do. Granted, I have not been able to beat anybody with one punch. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, here's the routine.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 kilometers running. That's 2 miles. Repeat that 7 days a week. That's
scroll down to the slide. This is in the manga. So from the manga, and then they put that into the anime. This is literally a slide from how they ask him, like, how did you become the strongest, hero in the world, and that's what he says he does. Do you think that you could become like in the shape that you're in from doing that every day? Do you think that would work?
I don't know because like I mean I don't know. Well, okay, the 100 squats. Does that mean 100 body squats with no weight? Like you're just doing like I'm doing the squat. I just did a squat.
I believe so. I think it's body squats. Yeah.
Okay. I mean 6. Oh my God, 6 miles every day. That's a fucking lot. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. I don't know, but what I would love for someone to do. And I think maybe you should do this, Paul, is do a 30-day challenge.
Oh, my gosh. You see, the 10K every day would kill me. But
that's 6 miles a day is a lot. And I think, Paul, you should try it out. And I think that'd be a great video for you to do.
You know what? I'm gonna take you up on that. I will do it.
I think you should.
For you, I will do it. I'm gonna do the Saitama workout for 30 days, see what happens.
I wake up and I do 100 push-ups every few days. I wake up and I kind of feel like I'm like ooh, and I do 100 push-ups, and I swear to God, it sets me off. Like I feel so good the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'll do 40 push-ups and I'll get tired, and then I'll do 20, and then I'll do 20, and then I'll do 20. So I'm like, you can't have breakfast, so you do 100 push-ups, and I do that every once in a while, and it does feel good. But it's totally doable. Monday. Yeah, like I don't. What's this? 5.
Yeah, this looks like a realistic way of breaking it down.
Oh, they created an actual workout based off of like his thing. Because you're not going to do 100 all in one shot, so maybe that's how they do it.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
you could.
If you're
week 1. Well, this is different though. This is like Monday is only 25 push-ups, and then 50 sit-ups, and then 25 squats.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they're trying to make it more like a version of that. All right. Anyway,
I think you need to do the 100.
I'll do it. Wait. So did it say 100 pull-ups? Did it say 100 pull-ups on there, or is it just push-ups, sit-ups, and squats? Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So, what is your type of daily workout? Like, can you give me a daily look at Brock's life today? Like, because you're in probably one of the best shapes of your life right now, or because you're getting ready to do the movie, you would say. So you're like, what is a daily kind of look at your life from morning to night? What is like a typical day for you?
Sure. So I wake up every morning. I do 5 eggs and 1 cup of white rice for breakfast, and that's 2 whole eggs and 3 egg whites, and that's breakfast every morning. I don't even have to think about it. I wake up and I look forward to breakfast. I make coffee, and then throughout the day, I usually have meals. My meals usually look like 6 to 8 ounces of grilled chicken breast and rice and a little bit of broccoli. And that's a very, very basic, typical meal. That's like, you can't get any more, like that's a standard meal. You got your carbs, your protein, and your greens. Uh-huh. So, or steak. I love steak. But there's like vegan options. There's like, there's lots of different vegan options people could do. There's like tofu. My partner loves tofu. But as long as you get people can we just say that like people who shit on like vegan stuff, I'm like, get a fucking life. Grow up. Well, how do you get your protein? Like, why do you worry about how I get my protein? Don't worry about it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, shut up, dude. There's plenty. There are fucking tons of vegan bodybuilders out there that are doing it amazing. And I fucking salute. I'm like, so like amazing. That is so challenging and like, but also like doable, totally doable. And I'm like, look at horses. And look at gorillas. Those fuckers are vegan.
Elephants.
They'll crush you.
Yeah.
they will kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you're a weak vegan. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, like tell that to a gorilla who will break your neck.
Yeah.
So that's what I eat, and then but I train typically 4.5 days a week. I've read some of the old school bodybuilders books, and those guys rested a lot. We live in this Instagram culture where it's no days off and like all this stuff every day. But if you're training, if you're lifting weights 7 days a week, you're going to continuously break your body down, and you're not going to grow and repair. And so sleeping and resting is really, really important. And so that's why I found when I started taking more rest days, I started growing more. and take, and then those rest days I take off, I rest on Saturday, Sunday. And by Monday, I'm like, okay, gym time, let's go. Yeah. And I go have an amazing workout. And if you're going to the gym and you're like, I'm so tired, my body hurts, it's like, you're not going to do anything productive in the gym. Go home and rest and drink a ton of water, eat your good meals, and go to bed.
Yeah.
And wait until your body says, gym time to lift, we need to work out. And so giving myself permission to take a rest day, that's the hard thing. That's the hard thing to do, is like when I tell my clients, I'm like, no lifting today. They're like, but what I said no lifting today. Like, no, the hard thing is to sit home all day and not go to the gym, because everyone feels so guilty for skipping the gym. And so that's what I do. I do a pull day on Monday. So back and biceps and rear delts. And then on Tuesday is push. So I'll do chest, triceps, and some shoulder military press. And then Wednesday is legs, and I do a big heavy leg day. And then I rest on Thursday. And then Friday is biceps, triceps, and shoulders and lats. So by the end of the week, I've pretty much hit everything I need to hit.
Yeah. And that's, my gosh, I mean, you would think that it's a lot more, but like you said, it's having the discipline to understand the importance of rest and recovery, that it's probably even more important than whatever you're doing in the gym, because it enforces what you can do in the gym. So, and I think that applies to a lot of other crafts. And that's why I'm curious. So are you finding moments now, because obviously, you're writing or you're preparing to do a film, is this where you're, after you go to the gym, is that when you like to write the most? Like, when do you find times to write, or when are you working on your film stuff? When are you, preparing for auditions, or what else is the things that are incorporated in part of your day?
I guess it's just sort of every day is different. And I train clients, I personal train. And so I usually try to keep my clients between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So I'll have like a 10 a.m., an 11 a.m., and a 12. And I try to keep it there so that I have the rest of my day to, if I have an audition that's due, I'll try to film the audition in the afternoon, or I'll do a little bit of writing. I also I eat and I cook a lot, so I have to have time to do that, to do that stuff. And then I go to the gym in the evening, and I try to take a nap around 5:30 for about a half hour, and then I wake up and I get ready for the gym and I go train. I like to train in the evening because the business day is over, and I'm not like so focused on like answering emails and texts, and you might have an audition, or this needs to be turned in, or whatever. So I like to train in the evening when I'm like, I can kind of turn my brain off and just go throw weights around, and then come home and just kind of like rest and go to bed. So that's typically what I do.
As an actor, have you felt that, obviously you're a big guy. Have you felt that being kind of the size that you are has made casting directors kind of pigeonhole you into a certain way, and you've had to work against that in any capacity?
Yeah, that's exactly why I wrote Cutting Season, because I know I'm a big boy, and I know that I'm, I look a certain way and I give off a certain look. But the funny thing is, like in the bodybuilding world, I'm a little guy. Like, it's because to actors and to people in the industry, they're like, you're so big. I'm like, you don't know what big is. Yeah. These motherfuckers are 240 pounds and 5'6". Like I am not big. I'm like a normal dude compared to them. But to my agent, she's like, you're a monster. Just slim down. So I wrote this movie, Cutting Season. I wrote this bodybuilding script because I wanted to show what I'm capable of. I wanted to show what this life is like. And I think there's really good stories in there about these bodybuilders who are really sad and lonely. And the movie is basically what happens when you walk off stage. What do these guys go home to? And what does it look like? And, they're living these lives that are so dedicated and regimented, and it's crazy. The shit they do is fucking crazy. And so I knew that there were stories in there. And so that's why I wrote my script, my bodybuilding script. And so, that's what I've just been working on. And obviously, after I film this movie, I'm definitely going to slim down. I am very excited to not live the bodybuilder lifestyle anymore. But until we film this movie, I can't stop progressing. Like I have to continue to look like this, because independent film, you know, like, Brock, we got the green light. We film in 2 months. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I have to stay ready. You know, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So,
hey, yes. Heck yes.
Like, yeah.
So
I'm excited to like chill out.
Yeah. Because I
was going
to say that takes over you, right?
I'm like, let's go. They're like, let's go hiking. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I'm cooking meals all day and eating and resting and going to the gym.
Yeah.
So like, I cannot wait until this thing's over, so that like, not in that sense, but part of me does. I'm like, I would love to film this movie and then like not worry about bodybuilding anymore. So, I did this myself.
Yeah. But it's so important. It's important too, because I'm number one. I absolutely love this story that you've written, and I love the take on it, because I remember again sitting with you when you had your first draft, and we'll go through this. And I remember I was like, "This is good," and you're a good writer. And I also, that was the other thing that's again, to what one of my first earlier points was. It impressed me how good you were at writing character, how good you were at dialogue, how good your premises were. Like, there was a lot of great stuff in there. And I remember I was like, there's so much I know that you have in whatever this story could become that you're just choosing not to include, because I know you, and I know you as a person. I knew you personally. And I just remember having that conversation with you, and I was more amazed to see how much better the script became, not because of anything that I said, but because you were just maybe you were just like, you had a freedom that evolved it, and I'm sure it's even in a way better version now, like to look at this place from a really vulnerable perspective. Did you find the writing process from after our conversation to be a hard one to have, or did you find that easier and more liberating and free? And what was the experience?
I'll never forget our conversation. I was in your apartment, and you challenged me, and you said, "This is great, Brock, but what is your story?" And I said, "Well, I was like figuring out my sexuality, and I was coming out at the same time I was competing." And you go, "That, Brock, that, like I want to see that." And I was like, "I don't know if I want to tell that story because it might turn people off." And you go, "Yeah, exactly." You're like, that's the story. Then that's the story you need to tell. And you giving me permission to go there was really, really liberating. And it was like, it really was like, I was like, oh, just that shove, that encouragement you gave me. Honestly, I swear to God, I was like, I went home, I thought about it, and I said, let me take a pass at this. Let me just write this version of the story that's closer to what I went through. And as I sat there writing it, I was like, oh, that's so good. I'm crying in this coffee shop writing like my own thing. And I was like, it felt so good. And I was like, I swear to God, that draft, I think I came up with that draft in a week. Like, I spent months trying to do the first draft, like the one that you read. And that draft, I was like, I remember, it was like, this thing flew out of me. And obviously over the years, it grew, it changed and changed and changed and changed. But like, that the draft that I worked on after talking to you, that was like, oh, this is the story. And it's just having permission, like being given permission from a friend to say like, no, do the fucking scary thing. And I swear to God, it'll pay off. And it did. So thank you.
Well, listen, I've had many people have those similar conversations.
Just say you're welcome, Brock. Just say you're welcome.
Never. I'll say you're welcome for having the conversation with you. But I mean, it takes, again, somebody who has that skill and the discipline and the vulnerability to take that freedom and make it into something worth reading and worth watching. So where do you think you found your inspiration as a writer, or where did your talent for writing come? Because I can see a correlation between someone who has a dedication to bodybuilding and is disciplined with how they eat and their workouts, and being a disciplined writer, to sit your ass fucking down and to write. Like, I can see that correlation. But where did you get kind of your ability to see people and see characters and see real interactions and all of this stuff and formulate a story? were you reading books on writing? Is it just from watching movies? Did you have a mentor? Where did your writing ability come from? Because it is so good.
Thank you. Okay, so as a kid, we're doing creative writing stuff in class, and I remember I won a contest in 5th grade. We had to write books. We had to write a story. We had to write a book, and we had to illustrate it, and my book won. And I got to go to some little writing workshop with all these other 5th graders and like learn how to write better. And then in middle school, I got to take CEP classes, which was Classroom Extension Program, which was the kids who were like a bit. It wasn't like you guys are brainiacs, but you guys are more creative, and you guys are bored in the normal classes. So like this is a class for the creative, bright kids. Mm-hmm. So I was like lucky enough to take these classes, and all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We had an amazing teacher, and she like, you know, these kids were doing like the normal kids, the standard classes were like doing this stuff, but we got to do really cool creative shit that they trusted us with. Like they trusted us to like, I made videos and montages, and we got to do like, you know, create. It was so much fun, and we got to write a ton. And I learned how to write, and we had to write stuff. And then I went into high school, and we had to write essays every weekend in English class, and I got awesome scores in writing class. And I was like, I love this. And I'm very good at expressing myself through writing, I guess. Yeah. And then in college, we, you know, wrote plays, and we wrote monologues, we wrote things and stuff like that. We wrote stories. And then I guess I just sort of realized that, you know, my friend Sean Palmer, he told me when I moved to New York, he was like, here's my piece of advice. You need to write your own stuff. You need to write, Brock. You need to write. So he gave me that advice, and I held on to that advice. And I was keeping my ears open for a story to tell. And as I grew, as I met more people in the industry, you know, I was like going to classes, but I was like, oh, this kid has his own little mini production company, and this kid is a cinematographer, and he has a nice camera, and he has a sound equipment. I was like, maybe I can get these guys together and we can make a movie. And YouTube was becoming a thing, and people were making their own YouTube videos. And Broad City, the girls from Broad City were, you know, they got their own show from their YouTube videos. And so there was no reason that we shouldn't be making little short movies on the weekends. We have iPhones and we have whatever. So I was like, this is how it's going to happen. And and then you're auditioning and you're reading film scripts. You're given these scripts, and I'm like, oh, this is a legit film script that I have access to, and I'm reading, and this is going to become a movie someday. So I'm like, this felt like precious to me. This is like, we're getting these scripts that were written by legit screenwriters, and we get to go read these lines, even if it's just an audition. But the more scripts I read, the more I realized it's like, maybe I can do this. And I did. And then we made the short film T County, because my parents had the cabin. And I every time I went home, so I'm born and raised in Ohio, but I was in New York. And so every time I went home to visit, I would drive, and I'd just be like, God, it's so beautiful out here. It's so country hokey pokey, but I love it. And it's so cinematic. There's so many forests, and there's old rundown buildings, and my parents lived in a cabin, and I had to get this on film. So I wrote a short film, and I put myself in the lead because I wanted to show off how good of an actor I was. And I wrote, and I just learned how to write, and I learned what good dialogue sounded, what bad dialogue sounded. And I realized how fucking short you need to keep your dialogue, because I wrote like a 5-page dialogue of me and this girl talking. And I was like, we cut it down to like 25 seconds. Like, we had this whole thing, and I was like, cut it. This is so boring. You are not Quentin Tarantino, girl. But then what I would do is when I was working on cutting season, the bodybuilding script, I have, where are they? Where am I? Oh, here. What I did was I went through my favorite movies, and I read the scripts. I read the Black Swan script. Black Swan. Yeah. I read that Black Swan script 3 times. And I learned, I was like, okay, what percentage of the script does she spend practicing ballet? Mm-hmm. What percentage of the script, how many times do we see the mother? How many times do we see the coach? You know, and I made it mathematical because it is a formula. Yeah. And so what I did was Here, like the wrestler, also with the wrestler.
Yeah.
I broke down the wrestler at 5 minutes. He locks himself out of the trailer. He's locked out of his trailer, and then at 9 minutes 30 seconds, this is what this happens. Mm-hmm. And I broke it down minute by minute. 12:40, he enters the ring with his, hits his head with the chair, and like 16:47, he goes backstage. So I just like broke it down as by minute to really see. And I did it with Whiplash. Like at 1 minute 20, Andrew sits alone drumming. Yeah. And then the next scene. And this showed me how short these scenes are. Like, scenes are short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dialogue, and reading the dialogue in Black Swan, I was like, oh my God, that scene was a page and a half of dialogue. And you don't realize how short it is until you're actually reading that script. You're like, they speak for 30 seconds.
I know.
So that was eye-opening. That was eye-opening to me. And
I want to just comment quickly, because people always think, like, especially as an actor, you got the odds stacked against you too, because people think of you as an actor and like, oh, you want to be a writer too, you want to write a script, whatever, like, am I going to take this seriously? That's an uphill battle within itself. But I think a lot of people then get like surprised when they see like an actor make a movie and they're like, how did this actor make a movie type of thing? But when you see stuff like that,
it's like,
but when you see like the work that goes into people, it doesn't happen by mistake. A lot of people think a lot of things happen by mistake, or things happen overnight, or people got lucky, whatever it is. When you have to go through these scripts and you're dissecting, and we're very much cut from the same cloth. Me and Allie, we do the same things, and and it's so like comforting to see other people who are about the hard work, who are about the craft, and are about figuring this shit out. And just because we look at other people who have had successful things, I mean, everything is a ripoff of something else to some capacity. We're learning from the formulas that work. Save the cat, the 5-act structure, the 6 or 7 characters of comedy.
Story by Robert McKee.
A wonderful book.
I read that during the shooting of Next Big Thing.
Wow.
David told me to read it, and I brought it with me, and I read it in between takes. I was sitting there reading story while we were like in between takes of the Next Big Thing.
But that's like, again, like this people of the same, I mean, that's what me and Allie were doing, just all about, and that's why it's so crazy you got that advice so early, because it wasn't until I really fell in love with the Duplass brothers, which I know you have a little bit of a connection with your movie, and we'll talk about that in a second. But that's why, if you're not making something, and if you want to be just an actor, I say this to people all the time, great. You want to be an actor? Wonderful. But it is a fucking hard uphill battle to think that you're just going to sit back and the scripts are going to come to you and the roles are going to come to you. I think it's a very admirable approach, and I appreciate your confidence, but I don't think it's a sustainable life in this day and age. And that's why I knew you were kind of that same, like, I'm going to go and freaking do that shit. I'm going to find the people. I'm going to write the script. And it's so amazing that you were able to get just have that hard work and continue down this passion, because it is hard to make a short film. And you've done it. I mean, you've done more than once. You've had
a couple.
Yeah.
A couple.
It is hard to even do a short film, and then to go ahead and write multiple feature films, because I know you're working on that too. So could we talk about the Duplass brothers thing and how you got to your script to that stage and you got like all that stuff hooked up?
Yeah. So you said something earlier about like doing terrible projects that will maybe bring you to one good person. That was what happened with me and my friend Erica. We did this horrible short film, and I got cast this thing, she got cast this thing, and it was the worst. Honestly, like I could. That's a whole other podcast. That whole short film, but it was like this. It was the worst thing ever. But me and Erica I was like, are you like, are we going to become friends through this? And she's like, yes. I was like, are you like, are we trauma bonding right now? She's like, yeah. So I became friends with this girl, Erica, and she was amazing. She's so great. And she brought me along to a seminar with seedandspark.com. And seedandspark.com is a fundraising website for filmmakers. It's like GoFundMe for movies. And so I put my name on the little list, and I got an email one day. So I had this cutting season script ready. I was like, this bodybuilding script. I'm like, what do I do with it? How do I get this thing out into the world? And I don't know. I've never done this before. I have no idea what to do. And so out of the blue, I get an email from seedandspark.com, and they were hosting a competition called Hometown Heroes Rally.
And it like in the email, it said, do you have a feature-length script? Is it unique and diverse? Is it set in your hometown? Do you want the Duplass brothers to produce it? I'm like, yes. And like, well, join this competition, run a campaign, and the top 10 campaigns get to pitch their idea to the Duplass brothers. And the Duplass brothers will pick one of those movies to produce. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a sign from God that I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
So I entered, I did it. I spent 30 days, like it was the craziest 30 days of my life. I got a ton of people to follow this campaign. I got a ton of people to donate. It was incredible. It was fucking amazing. And so many people messaged me saying, oh my God, Brock, this project looks awesome. Like, this is my story. Or it was like, I know somebody who's been through this. This is amazing. You need to make this. Yeah. So it was like, you know, just eye opening as to like, I've got something here. And so we pitched our idea. We ultimately didn't get it, but that competition led me to so many people who are now on my team.
Yeah.
And I was able to like, you know, reach out to people and say, hey, you know, I saw you donated and I know that yeah, I think this is great. I'd love to help. How can I help? And so many people, I was like, people aren't your enemies. People are your friends. People want to help you. They want to support you. And so through that competition is how I started to build my team. And I got one cool kid to come sit at the nerd table, and then the second cool kid to come sit at the nerd table. And they were like, hey guys, come over, sit with us. Like, it's cool over here. Yeah. So like they started bringing in their friends. And now I have this incredible team that fully believes in this project and is working and trying to do everything they can to raise the money and get people, you know, get the right people to give us the green light. So that's what, yeah. Thanks, Duplass brothers.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it just gives you that kind of confidence to believe that this is a real thing. Now you've put it out to the world, and you've created a kind of the ripple effect of like saying, "Hey, I'm really doing this, people," and it kind of sends out that shockwave to people to say, like, who wants to be a part of this? I want to let people know about this. How can, like you said, get involved? And I think that's when you can find those opportunities, whether it is even just. Like a Film Freeway has constant, you know, competitions or ways you can submit your projects or scripts. But I'm just remembering now, you also did some amazing kind of video, like test shooting that you did that I really, really enjoyed. And that to you, even like, I'm sure that created a bigger level of authenticity and realism for yourself, right? Like to make those videos. And that's more than what a lot of people are going to do. A lot of people are going to do the bare minimum. A lot of people are going to write a script, hit submit, and send it. A lot of people are going to send the audition in and sit around it and wait. And I don't think you're that type of person. I'm not that type of person. I don't think it's conducive for a career.
And that's and doing that extra work and doing that competition proved to these people that it's like that. I believe in my script 120%. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, if somebody comes to me with this project that they maybe want to do, I'm like, maybe, sure. But if they said, I've done this with it, I've taken it here, we raised $30,000 with this. It's like, oh, so you're a hard worker. You believe in your project. Like, I'm down. Let's do this. If you know, and we shot this footage. I do as much work as you can by yourself with whatever you got. And show it to them and be like, here, this is what I did. You know, because, you know, writing a script is fine. You can present a script, but like make a lookbook, you know, take the time to make a nice looking lookbook. It's free. And make a video and like go do anything, whatever you can do to like impress these people and show. Because people like that, like people who can produce, they see this stuff all the time. And you got to set yourself apart. You have to stand out and you have to prove that you're a hard worker. And that will stick out to them, and that'll get the thing going. I don't know, like get creative. Yeah,
I think you got to set yourself amongst the away from the pack, because there are, even though a lot of people aren't doing whatever it is. You
did it with Next Big Thing. Yeah. You made we shot that thing in your house.
Yes.
The 16-minute cut with the dog shit. or the human shit. Whatever shit it was.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But again,
So fun.
yeah, that was so much fun, and that led to me being able to do the pilot that we wound up doing, and that's a whole separate, conversation too in general. Getting something made is insanely hard. Getting people to invest money in a project and saying, let's make this, just from my own experience with that, and even just having the relationships with actors who believed in me to say, like, yes, I want to work on this, the cosign. Like, yeah, this person says yes, which allows you to say, hey, this person says yes. Hey, those 2 people are saying yes. We've got 5 people saying yes. It must be a pretty good thing if 5 people are saying yes, what you were saying at the nerd table. So, that's something I hope that will eventually lead to something that's a separate conversation. But it was exciting to work on that with you and to see how talented you were as an actor and how funny you were, because I knew when we shot that first little thing how hysterical you were, and then when we got to see that and see that funny side of you, is that, like, as a performer, what is the ultimate goal for you in terms of, I know obviously the cutting season is going to be very dramatic. I don't know how much comedy you're going to have in there. Maybe you'll be layered in with throughout, to have that moment of, like, dark comedy that exists. But, like, do you see yourself as a comedian in that way, or is that something that you want to do more of?
I think John Hamm is a good example of somebody who John Hamm's hilarious.
Yes.
But when he takes stuff, he's also doing Mad Men, and he's, like, very, very serious. And I think I love both. I love being able to play both. And I think I want to be seen as an actor who, like, I don't see myself as just comedy or just drama. I'm like, I got both in me. And I think that I want to explore both that. I'm actually, I don't tend to write comedy. I'm not gonna I don't want to write a comedy. We had a reading of Cutting Season in April, and people were kind of, like, laughing in the scenes. And I was like, oh God, was that funny? Like, it's all inherently in there, and it's like little situational funny moments, but, like, it's not like it's not like I'm not writing it for laughs.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep these scenes and the dialogues and the little moments that happen. I'm trying to keep them in there because that is life. Drama, if it's all just fucking drama the whole time, I'm like, I want to fucking kill myself.
Yes.
But these drama and these sketchy movies and these sad movies, like, there has to be lightheartedness in there somewhere.
Yes.
Otherwise your audience is going to turn it off and want to, like, take a pill. And so, Pitbull, like, with Pitbull, the Pitbull script, I have to find the humor in that because that's sad. It's the saddest script I've ever written. But the first half of the movie is really cute and funny, and, like, there's nice moments that I have to find. Otherwise, they're going to turn it off.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually working on. I had an idea for a script about a bodybuilder and a drag queen. And the drag queen hires the bodybuilder as a personal trainer, and they're working, and they're both complaining about how, because I used to train a famous drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. I trained her at the gym, and out of drag. Everyone's like, "Oh, did she come in high heels?" I'm like, "No," but she wanted to, we've been friends for a long time. She wanted to get in shape, so I trained her, and I remember talking one day about how painful and expensive and dedicated bodybuilding is, and how drag is the same. And I was like, I thought it'd be such a funny premise as if the bodybuilder said, all right, I'll do a drag show and you do a bodybuilding competition. We'll see who has it harder.
What? I like that.
Yeah. And so I started working on treatment, but, like, the treatment there, like, with the comedy, you have, like, it's just like with drama, you have to find the funny, but with comedy, you have to find the seriousness.
Yes.
And comedy's typically, at the end of a comedy, you're probably going to cry for a moment. Otherwise it's just like, that was stupid. But, like, you have to find these heart moments. And so with that treatment, it's like, I trust that these scenes will be funny, but I think, like, in comedy, it's not like Kristen Wiig said, story first, laughs second.
Yes.
And that's what I have in my head. I'm writing the story. The jokes will come. They will be there. If I cast a great drag performer, actor, I let them do their thing. It'll be hilarious. And then the end of the scene, we'll talk about, like, it will be something, the drama will be there. But, like, the comedy will be there, but I'm not like writing jokes.
Yeah.
But I want to try that because all I do is drama. Drama's easy. Comedy is hard.
It is.
Anyone can make you like laughs are fine, but crying's, I can make you cry easy. Laughs are hard.
Yeah, but I think that, like you're saying with the dramas, the good dramas are those moments of real authenticity and kind of comedy at its finest is when it's like shit is so freaking real, it's almost unbelievable, or it's, you know, when people are doing shit that is like so sad, it's so like actually sad, somebody's going through something really hard and you wind up laughing because it's so I don't want to say pathetic, but, you know, you see this character really struggling, and it's like, you know, when you look at like, have you watched, I've been watching Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal. I don't know if you've been watching that at all. It is, God, Nathan Fielder, he did Nathan For You, and there's this show called The Rehearsal, and he has an episode of, he invents an acting method called the Fielder method, and he invites a bunch of, I don't want to ruin it too much, but he invites a bunch of actors basically to come and work on this thing, and it is so, I don't want to say sad, but you see the desperation really is prevalent, and that real authentic kind of like desperation is hysterical. It is so uncomfortably hysterical when you can write that. It's like
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes.
I can't watch it because it makes me so stressed because it's so real.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I hate this. It's so funny, but it's so funny.
That's their whole premise. The show about nothing is not actually a show about nothing. It's the mundane things that we all wind up obsessing about, you know, like the person stealing your parking spot, you know, like that's a very real moment that happens every single freaking day. But, you know, the comedy comes out of the hysterical nature that people have.
Yeah.
I want to quickly talk about here too, just like you as an actor, I didn't realize that you did, I don't know if this is actually accurate, you did 52 episodes of The Haves and the Have-Nots, or is that just like that's insane. Can you talk about how you even, because I remember you telling me about this, how you got this, but I think people would be very interested to know about how you got hooked up on that show with Tyler Perry and everything.
Yeah, I got a call one day back in April 2017 from my agent, and they said, Brock, Tyler Perry wants to talk to you. And I was like, Medea? Yeah. And I was like, what did I do? And he's like, I don't know, but he's going to call you. It might have something to do with the role, but like he's going to call you tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So the next day, I get a call from a blocked number, private number, and he's like, is this Brock Yurich? And I said, yeah. And he says, this is Tyler Perry. And I was like, what's up, man? I felt like I was getting pranked.
Yeah.
And he said he saw my stuff on social media because I have the same name as one of his other actors, Brock O'Hearn. So I think he just saw my name beneath his name on Instagram or something like that, saw that I was an actor, and personally reached out to me and said, I think you might be, I'm writing a new role and you might be right for it. Can I see you in anything? So I sent him T County, and he watched it and got back to me, called me. He was like, you made this? And I said, yeah. And he says, like, you wrote and produced this? And I said, yeah. And he says, yeah, I love that. I think you're my guy. Let's do this. So kids, write and make your own shit.
Heck, yes.
Yeah, seriously, like even if like I can't watch this short film anymore because it's like it's so all I see are the cringe moments, and I'm like, oh, I can't watch it. But I was like, I don't. He can watch it and loved it, and I was like, totally cool. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't have to watch it. But he was really impressed, and so he said, I think you're great. Like let's get you down here. We'll start you off with 5 episodes, like a 5-episode arc, and see how you do, and we'll just we'll go from there. And I was like, great. So I went down for one day, and I was set for 5 episodes, and I was thinking, okay, there's 2 scenes per episode, so they gave me 10 scenes, and these scenes are probably 3 to 4 pages long. It's a lot of dialogue because it's a soap opera basically. And I was like, okay, I can memorize 2 scenes. We're probably not going to do more than 2 scenes on this first day, and then I'll probably come back and we'll do the next scenes. But I get there, and like I said, so what are we shooting tomorrow? And they go, we're shooting episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I was like, what do you mean? They said, we're shooting all those 5 episodes tomorrow. And I said, so all those 10 scenes you sent me, I'm filming those tomorrow before I leave? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I need to go memorize right now. I was like, what in the fuck? And he goes, yeah, Tyler shoots very fast. He shoots about 100 pages of script per day. And I was like, there's no way. And he's like, no, there is a way. And you'll learn it. You're going to learn tomorrow. You're going to figure out how this works tomorrow. You're going to be fine. Just memorize your shit. We got your back. We're going to make, we're not waiting. We're not waiting for you to fail. We want you to succeed, but memorize your stuff and come in. It'll be fine. So I went in and I did 5 episodes. I shot all my scenes and it was like, you got one take. But the way that they do it is like, if you and I are doing dialogue back and forth, and if I go up on a line, we move back 2 lines and then we keep going and they just edit.
Yeah.
They can edit that out and they can cut the mistake. And when you call a line, then it's fine. You don't want to call a line every time, but they understand it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I got this. I was like, I got this. This is what I trained for. I'm going to just come in. I'm going to do a good job. And I did. And I did a good job. And I was like doing what I've been working on. And I just kept it natural. And then he added me to 3 more episodes that day. He was like, he threw me in 3 more scenes that happened to be in 3 episodes. So I technically did 8 episodes that day. And then he brought me back for another 11 episodes for the second half of the season. And he liked my character and continued on with it. And then brought me back for I did season 5.5, and then the second half of 5. And then I did 6, 7, and 8. So I think they were 15 episodes each season. And then I did 45 plus 7, must have been like the 52.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. That stuff you can't make up. Like, you cannot make up these. The whole scenario is one of the most perfect, I think, like, actor, artist, story culminations that, like of all the things, you could have sent something else and he wouldn't have liked it. But the fact that, like, you made something, you did it yourself, they were impressed by that, you went and had to be prepared and equipped with the skills to be able to perform in all those episodes. It's the perfect storm of talent meets opportunity. Really.
Totally. And I will say, like, it felt like I won the lottery, but I also did a lot of work to get to that point. But also, like, he could have never, like, you can do all the work, but if he doesn't see you on that Instagram, it would have never happened. So yes, there is a part of it really is like luck, but when that luck happens, when that moment happens, you have that stuff prepared and you have it ready to email over really quick and just show them that you do the work, have it ready to go, because these opportunities don't happen that often.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah,
that's such an
people were like,
story.
oh, did you move to Atlanta? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, well, you're doing those episodes. And I was like, we shot those in 2 weeks. He shoots 15 episodes of his show in 10 days.
Tyler Perry is a machine, and he's got his own like kind of Disneyland out there of a studio. It's insane, right?
Yeah. He built his own version of the White House for one of his shows. Yeah.
Unreal.
He built his own White House.
Unreal.
He built his own ocean because he shot the scene in the ocean on a yacht, so he built his own ocean.
Wow.
Like, okay, you can't just go to the ocean.
No, just gonna make a wave pool, and like, that's just insane. Like, when you have that kind of, I mean, he's got it down to a science, and he knows what he's doing, so it's clearly working. And I think that things are only gonna get more kind of revolutionized. Things are only gonna get faster. Things are only gonna get shorter. The fact that we've got content on 1 billion streamers on social medias, we're watching things on our cell phone. It's crazy. I think it leaves a lot of opportunity for people like us to make content in different ways. I mean, I'm kind of a purist, and I like film and I like TV I like those formats, but I think there's opportunities for so many people to create and just get your shit out there, whatever it is. As an actor, for you, final things here. You've worked on tons of different TV shows. You've gotten to work with celebrities in different capacities. One of my favorite movies that you did was Goat, and I just absolutely loved kind of like that whole that whole scenario. But you've also gotten to work with I think you did Kimmy Schmidt. You did Succession. You did Succession, FBI recently. What of those type of shows, and being able to go through that whole process from audition to cast and working with sometimes the stars or the celebrities, what has been kind of like your favorite one of those interactions that's stuck with you, or as working as an actor?
Well, Titus Burgess during Kimmy Schmidt was hilarious. He was so nice and so cool and very much different than Titus on the show.
Yeah.
He's like he's a complete caricature of himself, but he's actually very, very like down to earth and very professional. And so it was nice to talk to him like that. I will say though, one of the best memories I'll always tell the story is I got to be a featured extra in a movie called The Other Woman with Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann and Kate Upton. And it came out in 2013 and we filmed that in 2012. And I got to say one word on camera and it was with Cameron Diaz. I didn't know I was going to be working with Cameron Diaz. I thought it was going to be an extra. And they like threw me behind the bar. And the director says, okay, so she's going to come up and she's going to ask for her order and you go get the order and this scene's going to happen. And then you bring the order back and she leaves. That's the scene. I said, okay, who? And he goes, Cameron Diaz. I was like, cool. I like peed myself a little bit. I was like, holy shit. And here in comes Cameron Diaz. She says, hi, I'm Cameron. And I was like, sorry. And I go, I'm Brock. And she says, where are you from? And I was like, Ohio. And I went to college in Orlando. She's like, oh, that's nice. I'm from Tampa. And I was like, amazing. And then like, she was so nice. And honestly, like when you're at that level, she could have just been like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
But she was like asking me questions about myself. And I'm like, oh, I love you. I always loved you, but I love you even more.
Yeah.
And then, just like she was so nice. And I've never, honestly, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with anybody. Everyone on the Tyler Perry show was amazing. Everyone in that building is so sweet and so nice and just lovely. Mm-hmm. And so everyone on that cast was awesome. We had such a great time. I'm trying to think if like there's anything else that stands out. I've never had a really bad experience with any famous people. Yeah. Kieran was cool. We did Succession. Kieran was great.
Yeah.
And everyone on GOAT was really cool. That was honestly like, as a young actor, that was one of the funnest, craziest things I've ever been a part of. I was very, very lucky to be a part of that thing.
You know what I'm just remembering?
Did you get to audition for that?
No, I did not. But you know what I'm remembering now too? As I remembered, because I was looking at your IMDb before we did this, and I forgot because I did a movie called Skook, and I remember this was when I had met you in that area, and they were like, they need somebody to do this thing, and I was like, oh, my buddy Brock would be so good for that. And you
got me in Skook. Yes. And I remember seeing you in this. I remember seeing you in Skook, and I was like, oh my God, like Paul's like a legit actor. Like, oh my God, I got to get to this level, man. Because what did I do for Skook?
You were like on the beach, and you were like dating someone's mom or something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I was like, I just now remember coming back to me that you did. It was like some sort of reality show you were a part of.
Oh my God, you're so right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it, and I remember seeing you. I was like, there he is. There's Paul doing what he does. And then, okay, so then I just like, that reminds me of this other little quick little story. I remember, there was a movie. Oh God, there was a movie, and it was a really dark movie about these like teenagers, and the one kid goes apeshit at the end, and he has like a machete, and it's not funny. It's like he kills his friend or something like that, or tries to kill his friend because he gets jealous of his girlfriend, and it's called something. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll figure it out and I'll let you know.
Get on it, Joe.
Yeah, it was Danny Walton was a production designer, set designer, and he was a writer, and he's done all this stuff. And he and I are friends. If you look up Danny Walton on IMDb, I'm sure it'll be there. But I remember years prior, he asked me, he's like, Brock, do you have any modeling pictures from back in the day? And I was like, oh God, just Google me. And he says, yeah, okay. So he asked me for some modeling photos from like when I was a little fucking wannabe model. And I let him, he's like, do I have your permission to use, I'm doing this movie. We have a set, and we just need some like pictures of hot guys. And I was like, yeah, sure. So he this was back in 2015 or whatever, 2021, I'm watching a movie, and the girl goes up to her bedroom, and she's sitting there with her best friend. And I'm like, that's me on her wall. That's me.
Oh my God.
And I go, oh my God. And I go, Danny, dude, was this the movie that you did? Do you remember 5 years ago when you asked me for pictures of myself? Was this the movie? And he goes, yeah. And I go, I'm like having this moment alone in my living room. Like, I'm like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, the meme of him being like,
Yes.
like pointing at the TV from Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
That was me. I was like,
that is so
it was like,
brilliant.
it was so funny. She's like doing her makeup in the mirror, and I'm like, is that my naked ass on her fucking mirror? It was so funny.
Wow.
Like, I completely forgot about that. It's just such a weird life.
You didn't even get a credit. You didn't even get a credit for having your ass in the movie. No.
I don't want credit for that.
Oh my God.
No.
Well, you know,
no.
you're also reminded. I mean, you got me in the movie that we did together, The Garden Left Behind. So we freaking have ping ponged for years, man.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That's right.
Wow. Yeah.
God damn.
This is
Good times, dude.
So yeah, it's been crazy, and I'm so happy you're here in LA. What is?
You're one of my oldest actor friends.
I know. Yeah. Right back at you. Yeah.
You are.
That's why when you moved here, I was so excited to like know that there's someone who is from that environment and understands kind of like that lifestyle and to live that here, because it's very different out here. It is similar, and it's not what people make it out to be. Like, people like have painted very interesting pictures of New York and LA, I think, and I don't think it resonates with what I'm experiencing. But it is a different kind of way of looking at filmmaking, at the very least. I think filmmaking is a different way of looking at it. What has been the thing you've missed most about New York, and what is the thing you've been most... Nothing?
Nothing.
Holy shit, I was like, wow, ruthless.
What I miss, I'm joking, sort of.
I'm with
what
you,
I miss is I miss my friends there.
Yeah.
I miss my group, my good people. I had personal training clients in New York. I love them, and I love those. Like, there's some people there in New York City that I'm like, I miss you and I love you, and I wish we lived 10 blocks away from each other. Yeah. I do not miss that life. Yeah. It's hard. For your 20s, you know, we were young 20s, and we were hustling, we were working, we dealt with the stress, and it is stressful. Mm-hmm. And when you are poor in New York City, it is not fun. And so, you know, taking the subway to go bartend for 6 hours and get home at 4 a.m. and then go do an audition the next day, it sucks.
Dude, I remember I remember I was in my gym when I lived at 145th Street, and I'm on the treadmill, and I see you walk in. I'm like, Brock, what the fuck? And you're like, yeah, I train a client here. I'm like, dude, you're hustling. You're going all over the place. Like that. I was like, yeah, that is like New York to me, when you just like that type of... that motion, it's like always moving. There's never a quiet moment, and I still carry that with me like trauma, unfortunately, out here. But it's a different beast.
Yeah, New York was great for that time. I learned so much. I learned so many good lessons, but I wanted to leave like 2018, 2019 when I was like, I want to go to LA. It's time to go to LA. I don't want to be here anymore. I feel like as a big boy actor, I was like, I think they're going to appreciate me more in LA, because they don't know what to do with me here in New York. I wasn't working as much as I wanted to, and there's not like big boy movies happening here in New York. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm coming to LA. I promise. I'm going to come to LA. And I was telling all my friends here, I was like, I'm going to move. I promise. And then 2020 happened. COVID happened. And I was like, okay, never mind. I'm going to Ohio. So I went to Ohio, and I spent 2 years in Ohio, a lot of family time, and it was amazing. And then I realized that my 2-year anniversary was coming up. I was like, oh my God, March 16th of 2022, I will have been here for 2 years. And the world was opening up. Everything was going back to normal. And I was like, this feels like the perfect time to move to LA. I'm moving to LA. I can't go back to New York. I don't want to. And so I was like, it's time for a new chapter. This feels like, again, like this is God saying, Brock, get your ass out to the West Coast. Yeah. And so I did. And I just found an apartment, and I'm here now. And all my friends were out here anyway. You were out here. My friends, like all my actor buddies were out here. And I'm like, everyone that's doing what I want to do is in LA. Yeah. So it was like, just do it, Brock. Just fucking do it. And I did.
I'm glad you did, and I'm happy to have you here. Yeah. My gosh. Thank you for doing this podcast, too. It's always a pleasure I mean, anytime I get to hang out with you, it's always a fun time, and that's why I was like, I got to have you on. And I had wanted to have you on, and I was like, after seeing you the other day, and when we were working on your thing, I was like, I got to just have him on now. I was like, I got to have Brock on. It's such a great podcast. A final thing that we've been doing here on the podcast, and it can be unrelated to the film industry, industry or anything with this, but as the nature of this is the Points of Experience podcast, I like to ask people about experiences they've had in their life that really have had an effect on them, that have either taught them a lesson or something that they pass on or they carry with them, whether it's something from a parent or a saying they heard or an experience that you've had that changed your life in some way for the better or informs something you do. Is there a particular moment that stands out as something that you'd like to share with people as an experience that that really was kind of memorable?
Oh my God.
I know. It's a tough question, but I think it's often the most impactful.
How are you going to do this to me?
I know.
Oh my goodness. That's like such a good question, man. So many things. I guess it really just, when I was younger, my dad was not about to let me give up on myself. And when those CEP classes that I told you about in middle school, I didn't want to go do those. Yeah. I wanted to be one of the normal kids. I didn't want to go be a smart freak, whatever. And he was like, "You're going to you tested, you got into the classes. You're going to take them, and you are not going to. If you have an opportunity to be great, you are not ever to let it go." Yeah. And I was like, I was like, I don't want to do it. And then I got in and I was like, oh, this is great. And then he moved me to Florida and I went down kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go to Florida. I didn't want to move in high school. And then I get down to Florida and I was like, oh, this is great. And I thrived in theater. There was so much theater in Florida that I got to do these amazing things in Florida. And then with the weightlifting, with the bodybuilding, he like pushed me to compete and I did. And so I think it really all in any kind of therapy session, it all comes back to your parents. But I really think like the older I get, the more I realize that I'm exactly like my father. And I got to learn from, his mistakes, and I got to take the good from him and learn from the bad. Yeah. And I think that's really that's like in general. I don't think it's one moment. There are many little moments throughout my life that he was like, you're going to go do fucking good things. You're meant for big things, and you're not about to let that go to waste. And like graduating high school, like I remember kids got presents for graduating high school, and I was like, what are you guys going to get me? They're like, nothing. Do you think like graduating high school is not it's not an option, Brock? Like you're going to go graduate high school, you're going to college, you're going to go do this, and you're going to finish college, and you're going to like that's not like we're not celebrating you. Like they celebrate at a party, but like they're like, if you don't even think about not graduating, or don't even think about getting lower grades than you're expected to. You're going to get A's, you're going to do your best, and you're going to be happy about it. And I was like, okay. But it was true. It was like, so many people are afraid of doing good stuff and working hard. And they were just like not about to let me do that. They were like, no, you're capable of A's. You're going to get A's. I was like,
you have the potential to work hard. That's amazing. And it's, it was a very similar scenario for me, not in that same way, but to not, I think a lot of people growing up, they overvalue kind of these social media moments, so to speak. I think we all feel like we're entitled to every experience that every other person you see in the world has online. So we feel this pressure of like, my life is not like this. Why am I not getting this? And we start valuing our lives that way. And I think you can find the moments to be appreciative of what you have in front of you and the things that you learn from your parents or you learn from your peers and friends. It's social media is it's like fucking Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility, it's crazy.
I recently deleted the Instagram app off of my phone. And it's been lovely.
Allie has done that. I deleted the Twitter app for me because I find that to be a little bit more of a toxic cesspool than Instagram is. But yeah, I highly recommend that. Joe, I saw you messaged me here. We typically have audience questions, but with you coming on last minute, Joe had a question for you. So Joe, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when Paul told me you were coming on, I kind of looked you up and I saw like your I guess I can see your personality through Instagram, and I'm just like, man, this guy is like a shining example of what every person should strive for physically.
Oh my god!
Because I didn't know anything about you, but you know.
Well, you saw a cut of
know,
Next Big Thing. You saw a cut of Next Big Thing.
Yes, and I laughed my ass off in that show too. So basically, what would you tell an unmotivated, unhealthy person? Not me, but someone I know.
Yeah.
To just like, I guess, get started and like just stop all the, you know, the unhealthy food and stuff like that. I guess for someone who deep down wants it but can't quite shake the lifestyle, I guess. If I'm saying.
Oh god, that's so. Dude, I don't know, because my gut instinct is like, you can't want it for them. With anything, like you can't, like they have to want it themselves. They have to, like, unless they're saying how, like, okay, I want to start doing the research. I'm gonna take this free time that I have, and instead of going to go eat, I'm gonna look up a workout. I'm gonna go, you know, like, take them to the gym. You could take them to the gym. You could take them running and say, hey, wake up. We're waking up and we're going running. God, start throwing out all the shit that they have in their house. You need to go through their house with them and take out all the garbage and all the junk food. And then, oh God, it's really tough because it's such a big life change that unless they want it, they're not going to do it. And so another thing, a big thing that they should do, this is what I tell people when they ask me for advice, like, how do I start getting more fit? I say, hire a coach. They go, yeah, I know. But like, I also don't, like, no, hire a coach, spend money, because once your money's involved, then it's something that you can't just like not do because you're losing money on it. Yeah. So I've had coaches for the past 5 years. I hired coaches to take me to the gym and take me through nasty workouts because I wanted to get bigger and I wanted to look right for the movie. So I'm not going to do that on my own. I'm not ever going to work as hard without somebody yelling at me that I paid for. So they have to, I would say, hire a coach, because that takes it from like, I could go to the gym today, but I'm not really going to. No, bitch, you're going at 12 noon to go meet your coach, or you lose out on $50. You're wasting your own money. So I would say, look up a coach, start going to a gym and ask them if they have any coaches or trainers, or look on Instagram and see if there's any coaches close to them. But yeah, if your money's not involved, you're not going to do it.
That's such a great way to look at it, because you can easily just be like, forget the gym. Like, I don't lose anything by not going, besides like, it's such a great way to look at it. And that's exactly kind of why I asked the question, because you know, everyone just tries the newest diet or supplement or whatever, and then they fall off after a week, and they're like, okay, cool, time to just do the easy thing. But when you're spending money, you know you're going to freaking do it. Most of 99% of the time, like, you're going to do it. So. Yeah.
So many people will ask me for my diet, or like, can you write a diet out for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, $100. And they go, what? And I'm like, bro, I am not giving you my free diet for free. You're going to look at it and you're going to just throw it away. Yeah. When you pay $100 for it, you're going to follow it. So don't waste my time. Don't waste my time asking me to give you all this information that I've also spent many years, you know, working towards and trying to figure out. Like, it's like asking anyone to do their job for free. Yeah. And it's like, you know, you're not going to appreciate it, and you're going to take it for granted until you pay for it. And so, you know, you never do something that you're good at for free, right?
You know what?
Even investing money in groceries too. That could be like kind of pseudo. You spent money. You better eat the healthy food. Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of the same thing too.
Yes, you're going to spend so much more money too on fast food, but like go to the grocery store and go get that chicken. And then when you throw that chicken away a week later because you didn't cook it and it went bad, you're going to feel really shitty.
It's your money.
So like, cook that food and eat it.
Amazing. Great question, Joe. I think that was a fantastic question. Brock, thank you for coming on and for blessing us and blessing me with this opportunity to chat with you, because your energy just puts me in such a fucking fantastic mood. I am so excited and happy.
Think you're the tits. I love you.
Thank you for coming by.
Great.
Is there anything you want to plug? I know that the Instagram for your film, is it still under test film on like Instagram and stuff? Where can people find? What do you want people to find, and where can they find it?
My personal page is much more active.
Okay.
I'm posting really on at Brock Yurich, BROCKYURICH.
Yep. And we'll link that in the notes as well.
Yeah.
So, but great, man. I'm excited to see the film. I can't wait for you to tell me about the next motion that you have with it and your other projects. You're someone who, it's going to be so amazing to watch, like your kind of your brilliance be presented on like even bigger stages as it keeps going. You know, I think it's just going to be so exciting and fun. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for chatting. And well, I hope to see you soon. And I hope you have a good time wherever you're going. I know you're traveling, so and have a good flight.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Of course.
This is great. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Keith.
Yes. Give it up for everybody here. But Brock, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. How fun was that, dude? How great is he?
What a guy.
One of the most magnetic electric people I know, and it's like he is that is just genuinely who Brock is. He's such a bright, funny, like real person. There's like no bullshit that comes out of his mouth, and I love him for that. He's so talented too. That's the other part, is he is such a good actor. And that's why I asked that question about him, being perceived, because he is in such really good shape and he's a very athletic person. Because I know his potential could be limited by, when you see like someone typically like The Rock, like you're like, oh, that person can't do the sensitive roles or whatever it might be. But he is such a good actor and he's so funny. I think ultimately, however he decides to stay physically, I think he's just going to shine once this industry like truly understands his potential. I mean, he's already done such fantastic stuff, but I think it's only the beginning. Like, I feel like we're still like on the first step.
Yeah, I mean, like when I looked at his Instagram, I was just like, oh, this guy can physically kill me if I was in the same room as him. And then when as the podcast went along, I was like, oh, and he's also super genuine and nice. Wow, what a dude, yeah.
Yeah,
great episode.
Is the total antithesis of what people think when they think of like Jim douchebag, as he said in the intro thing. Like, he is such the opposite of that. And when we were writing our show, Next Big Thing, I had him in mind because we had based that show that I had made, which was called Next Big Thing at the time, the gamer comedy pilot, around friends of mine that I grew up with. And the one friend that I had, his name was Joe, who he's an accountant, and he was always doing jujitsu.
Are you talking about
working
me,
out.
dude? I don't know.
Not you, my friend Joe, who you also know, who you've spoken to. And he's like, he works out at the gym all the time. He really cares about his body. He cares about his health. And he's an accountant, and he hates his job. And there's such rage for the people he works with. Yeah. And when we wrote it, there was that was like the character, right? It was kind of one-dimensional. But then when I knew Brock, I'm like, he would be so perfect for this role. He made the character what it was because he created this element of like such like genuine, nice comedy. Like, he was the sweetest, gentlest soul. But then when things came at him that he didn't like, or his mundane job, he would lose it, and he didn't take the bullshit. So he took that character and revolutionized what it was, and it's because of how brilliant he is as an actor and how genuine he is as a person. So I owe a lot to him, and he's just fantastic. I hope we get to do more with that show. It was hard during the pandemic and all that stuff, and maybe we'll talk about that at another time. But
yeah, I've been waiting for that for how many years ago did you show me the pilot?
Gosh, I mean, we filmed it in 2019 or 2018. I can't remember. So, but it's hard. Like we were saying, independent film, it is hard to make something. And it was hard for us to get that off the ground. And ultimately, what we wound up, here's the short story version. We sold the show to a content studio, a studio that makes stuff. They were going to take our idea and develop it with us. So that was the first thing. Great. We're excited. We're on board. We have someone who bought our stuff. And then they were taking too long with this thing. And partially for me, it was kind of my impatience. And after like a certain period, it was like 6 months, we had like no updates of what was going on. And we don't know if it was just the wrong people who had it or the market wasn't ready for something like that. But we wound up saying we want to take our show back because we were also we didn't want to compromise. We didn't want to compromise and say these actors who we believed in and created these characters, they can't be a part of it. Because a lot of people will tell you that. We love your idea, but we want to, for lack of a better example, close your ears if you don't like profanity, they're going to star fuck it, where they cast all celebrities, and that's what sells the show. I didn't want that to be what this was. It was important for me that the people that had done like a teaser that we originally did, and then we wound up shooting the pilot and helped me do the read-through, countless read-throughs and all these things. So after that, we wound up meeting a new streaming platform. And this new streaming platform was like, we want you to be our premiere show. We're going to put all this money into it, blah, 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 blah. They wound up we signed an agreement, a shopping agreement with them. And they were going to pitch it to various like companies to do brand product placement and shit. And that's how we could get away with funding it and also keeping everybody we wanted in it. And then that company went under in the pandemic. So we're not to say that door is still not open. It's just we have to recalibrate in this new world that we're in. And it's also kind of like building blocks. And here's a great lesson for independent filmmakers. You know, sometimes you do something and it doesn't go to where you want it to be. But for me, what I was able to do after kind of like getting these next steps was be like, okay, we've got this to this place. But now now that I'm taking this step back, I'm going to try and build up another pillar to help reinforce this house. You know, we've built up the one pillar and the house is a little wobbly. I'm going to go back down and build up another pillar. And that other pillar is my career as an actor and having a career in the video game industry as a voice actor. Yeah. And that has been reinforcing me as a creator of a show about gamers. So, you know, when I don't like the idea of like, you know, I made something, it was for nothing. Because we're very much still pushing this content, and we hope to do a version of it because what we had made 4 years ago isn't necessarily like we wouldn't put that show out that we had made then today. The zeitgeist is vastly different. We wrote that in 2016, you know? The gaming industry is so much different, so we hope that there's a lot of what we had initially set out to do, just another version of that. I hope we were able to show studios that were able to make content like that. So that's the long-winded story about it. Listen,
and your show still, even if it's different times, your show still holds up to this day because I think it was Paramount released a new gaming show, and I watched the trailer and I was like, they're getting this all wrong. Like, it's not like, listen, I didn't watch the show, so it might actually be good.
I auditioned for that show, by the way. I auditioned for the main character of that, yes.
So the main character, they named him like
Cheesecake or something. Yeah, cream cheese, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe it's like a comedy or whatever. But what you did with the gaming, you know, community type of game show was the best approach to it. Like, create real scenarios. Like, they just put some guy, named him something funny, and put him in like League of Legends like championship or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a good show, but I'm just saying, like, your idea of, you know, the game store and local friends and just being so much more, I guess, relatable to an average person, because the average person doesn't compete in the LCS. Like,
no,
there's a big difference. And listen, dude, you keep blowing yourself up, you'll be able to produce. Well, you produced it, but you'll be able to fund your own freaking show and put it out there finally for everyone to see it. So
that door is not closed indefinitely, and thank you. But it's like what they were doing. I understood and I read the scripts and I appreciated it and whatever. And I was like, honestly, that was one of those moments where I had my audition. I'm like, I did such a better job. I think, granted, just a different show than what. I understand why they went with that guy. You know what I mean? My and I don't know what the reviews are of that show, but like what we came towards was like making gaming relatable for everybody. And I think a lot of things are trying to do that, but like even Brock, he doesn't consider himself a gamer. He's a gamer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he sits and plays Zelda and Pokemon and crafts, you know, things. Like, everybody has gaming in their life in one way or another, whether it's them playing Candy Crush or them, you know, Smash Brothers, Mario Party. Like, gaming is a part of so many people's lives, and they try to, like, deny it. So, yeah, we hope to bring that back in a certain capacity. But Brock is a pillar of what we were trying to create, and hilarity is what makes that show so funny. I mean, all of my scenes are with Brock basically in our show, and we have a little dynamic where he accidentally is streaming on the computer. Like, I had to run to the bathroom, and I'm in the middle of a ranked match, and I make him sit and play for me, and he's not good. And he's like, he winds up becoming a huge meme out of flipping out and raging because he didn't realize I was streaming. It's a very funny little bit, and he's hysterical at it. He does so well at playing like this person who came into internet fame unexpectedly, and he kind of like lets it go to his head. But yeah, Brock, fantastic guy, and he, I'm so happy he lives here. It's like, again, you meet these people along the way. You wind up meeting so many different acquaintances, and that's the beauty of this industry. And people like him are what make me want to keep making it, because collaborating with someone like him who gets it, who wants to make real shit and loves what he does is... I mean, I credit New York a little bit for it, but he's a real artist, and I can't wait to see his new film, Cutting Season. He's also working on another script that he talked about a little bit as a Pitbull script, and I read it, and it was really exciting. But yeah, Cutting Season is going to be great. So he's getting it done very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and make sure you check him out on social media.
Absolutely.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, review,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Go outside your house. Tell the nearest person to listen to Points of Experience.
Yeah.
Just do
and
it.
go outside and if you want to work out, go and work out, right? As Brock said, like go and just and go fucking do it.
Just go do it. Spend some money so you feel invested, and that you'll trick yourself into becoming a better person. That was just awesome advice.
Yeah, really.
I'm still like, really? I can trick myself into doing this? And it's actually good?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they try to invest in things and they get a little overeager, but I think health and fitness, and you can feel it when you do it. Like when you feel that financial investment when you do it, and you feel it on your body. So you have to kind of reprogram your brain.
And if you're even 1% stubborn, you will not lose that money you invested. You will try... Yeah. If you're stubborn at all, you will be like, you know
I'm
what?
gonna make this work. Yeah,
I have to do this.
Yeah. When I was learning Japanese, what I did was I put all my money into this account. Like I put like $500 down for lessons, so I knew that I had to get my money's worth through my Japanese lessons, because I wasn't getting it back. I was like, I'm going to these lessons. I already paid for it. It's done. So I love that mentality. It's a great one. Cool. Stick around for next week's episode. As always, keep writing in your questions. Info at pointsofexperiencepodcast.com, and we'll see you all soon on the next one.